Well, hello everyone and welcome to a different style of video, a different kind of video. So this is going to be post-commentary after the gameplay. No tiny bit of live commentary in there for bits that we need to cut into, but you'll see that soon. Just a different style of gaming video. I had this idea of just doing post-commentary and seeing how it went. I really like it. I really like how it turned out. I'm going to need everyone's feedback on what you think of it, because at the end of the day, if it's not pleasing the audience, then I'm not going to do it. If you guys prefer the live stuff, please let me know. If you guys prefer the post-commentary stuff, please let me know. Or if you just want to see a blend of the two, let me know in the comment section. And if this is your first time visiting the channel and you do like the content, I'd like a new subscriber. You'd be much valued, you would. But anyway, that's enough self-promotion. Today we're going to be playing Far Cry 3 and stepping into the shoes of the true warrior of the island, Jason. We're introduced to a bunch of mid-20s white people who honestly just look like a mid-80s sitcom cast. You know, there's definitely that one in the group that goes on about how he played football in college, but then did his knee in, so he couldn't continue. For some reason, we've decided to come to a remote desert island that no one's ever heard of before, just to party really hard because... My brother Riley forgetting his pilot's license! Who spends that much money going on holiday and partying that hard after someone just gets a license? When I got my Legoland license, I didn't come home to Sambuca shots lined up with my mum. She was doing them on her own, but... those are separate issues. Anyway, it's all just revealed that that was just vlog footage that the main character that we're playing, Jason, was recording for his YouTube channel. He's failing at everything else in his life, so he thought, why not try YouTube? Why not try vlog? He's gone on holiday to get a nice thumbnail, and look what's happened now. Me and my brother are now tied up in a small wooden cage, being intimidated by the greatest video game villain of all time.
This is a nice fucking phone.
And I actually can't work out if we've been caught up in some BDSM fetish, or if this is an actual kidnapping and our lives are in danger.
I'm the one with the fucking dick!
Luckily for us, Voss gets called off to see the boss, and that gives my brother time to show off that he was about to fist someone, or something, before getting captured as his wrists were more lubed up than an underage boy meeting Kevin Spacey in a shady hotel room. Somehow doing this kills a man.
Shit. Holy fuck, he's dead.
We then escape and prove that we are peak millennials by just watching on as other people suffer in a cage and don't even free them. If there was the option to free them, however, I definitely wouldn't have done. I found this boar who I felt really sorry for as it was just trapped up in a tiny little space. I tried to make friends with it and get it to come with us, but it just made my brother really angry. My love for animals once again gets me in trouble, as I just wanted to pet these good boys on the head, but they were also viciously barking at me, so they gave off the vibe that they were going to tear off my face. But none of that mattered anyway, as we were captured then a few seconds later, because one of us stood up. I'm not saying who stood up, I don't want to throw my brother under the bus like that, but I feel like if I was on my own, I would have made that. After a quick visit to the doctors to remove some of the bullet holes out my back, we found a room with some supplies in it. My brother does the manly thing and takes the knife, and leaves me to just grab all the other possessions, which I put into what can only be described as a fanny pack, because where else is that stuff going? We learned that guards are really attracted to the noise of a rock hitting some wood.
Distract him. Hi.
But are not attracted by the noise of me climbing through a window. I nearly get caught, but luckily this guy is drunker than Uncle Steve is at every single Christmas party, and my brother just proves that he is a badass and he's going to guide us all the way out here and protect me to find our friends, to find our group, to finally escape this horrid island. I decide that when I escape this place, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be a noble man. Not to free everyone here. No. I'm going to save the weed. This is the pure stuff, right from source. I'm going to ship it back home, and me and my brother, we are going to be millionaires. We're going to be selling the best on the block. As for right now, though, we haven't got time for that, so I slip a 10 bags worth in my pocket, and we get out of there. For some reason, when we escape, rather than walking an extra 100 to 200 feet further into the bush, further into the jungle, we decide to stop about 2 feet outside the prison. And when you stop 2 feet outside the prison to have a look at the map and have a chat at normal volume, assuming no one can hear you, bad things are gonna happen.
Home.
I then prove about as useful as an 80-year-old man's penis as my brother is dying right in front of me, and I proceed to do absolutely nothing about it.
Run, Forrest! Run!
I take his instructions because despite saying I want to die on social media, I actually really don't. I want to stay alive. I value life. So I sprint through the forest, dodge 1,000 bullets, jump over 17 tigers, wrestle 5 bears, and after all that I find my way to a bridge, and the bridge is the thing that defeats me. Oh, for Christ's sake, really, I'm useless, aren't I? Floating through the ocean thinking that's it. This is destiny. I'm to drown at the bottom of the ocean. Get hit with a sign of life, a sign of hope. A random man's arm comes down and grabs me. At the time, I didn't know whether it was a sexual predator or Jesus Christ himself, but either way I was happy. Waking up in a bed with a needle in my arm, I was more leaning towards sexual predator, but the guy had the appearance of a rip-off Morgan Freeman, and I once remember that Morgan Freeman played God himself in a film before, so that made me feel a little bit more comfortable. He proceeds to threaten me in a weird, passive-aggressive way.
You have the right to take my life. But no, I will also take yours.
That tells me that his name actually isn't Morgan Freeman Ripoff, his name is Dennis. Morgan Freeman Ripoff, aka Dennis, then starts telling me about how he knows my true self, and that I am a warrior, and the tattoo on my arm, and I don't know if he's mispronouncing tattoo there, if it's actually called tattoo, but either way, the tattoo on my arm will reveal this true warrior self. And as a man that drives a Mercedes, wears a Bluetooth earpiece all the time, is always on a conference call with a client, and gets oat milk in my Starbucks order, I do find it hard to disagree with him. I always thought that I was a warrior myself. I told him all of my issues, the fact that my brother is dead, 4 of my friends are missing and I need to find them. He then knows how to console a millennial in the best way, with a little TED talk.
No, you can only help yourself. I'm going to free you.
Morgan Freeman ripoff continues to dominate the conversation and not let me get a word in edgeways as he brings me out and introduces me to the entire village, which quite frankly I wasn't ready for yet as I am an introvert. Taking a look at the village though, it looks like half of them have dropped a couple of beans, while the other half of them found that 10 bag in my pocket while I was knocked out and decided to have a go on it without me. It's quite rude, but honestly I don't really mind it as long as they save me twos. He then shows me some bang average women and tells me that they really are something, aren't they? Which I couldn't disagree with more. But I decided to let him off the hook because I remember that he lives on a remote desert island, so I guess a catch to him is something that isn't from his family tree with 2 legs and a working heartbeat, so I guess that excludes anyone from Bristol. This important piece of information then comes out of our main character, Jason's mouth, which will be relevant a little bit later on.
Cash for weapons.
Oh,
You want to save your brother, right?
I've never shot anyone before.
I mingle around the guys that look like they're having the time of their lives to see if there's any leftover beans, but I'm left disappointed because the only beans I'll be consuming tonight will be a tin of Heinz. And with that, I purchase my first gun and I leave the small village to go exploring the wide open world that is Far Cry 3. It has many dangers in it. Sharks, tigers, I don't think there's lions, bears, snakes, and most of all, giant turkeys. You'll see what I'm talking about later. Dennis has tasked me with going to the top of a radio tower because that's how Voss and his men communicate with each other. So we're here to stop their mission of communicating with each other. We want to isolate them. We want to make them introverts. We want to keep them inside. We want to make them not socialized. We want to make them depressed. And then they will end up necking themselves. And that's how we take out his army. I found out quickly that being out here on your own can be very dangerous when I come up against a poisonous snake. But I dealt with it by putting a bullet right between the little cunt's eyes. My reward for being so brave, you ask? A photo of a dwarf. That was tonight's wank sorted, and now I just needed to get to the top of this radio tower before sunrise because this part of the map was giving me some bad vibes and I felt like a shaman was going to turn up any moment now and start blessing the ground, and I didn't want to be there for that. You know, when I get caught up in a conversation with a shaman, they can go on. I was once out in London and I met a shaman. He tried to offer me some of these magic stickers, as he called them, but I rejected the offer as I thought it was just LSD. Part of me regrets it as I feel like we could have had a good time together, but then part of me knows I made the right decision because it could have been roofies as well, and I'd rather him save them for someone a lot more attractive than me. After scaling the radio tower, I find the fuse box at the top, we crack it open with the back of our knife, and just rip out some of the insides and flick a couple switches, and for some reason, that stops Voss men from being able to communicate with each other and gives us the map vision. So now we can see every animal that is going to kill us. Go and see Dennis to see what all of this stuff on the map means. And after he's once again dominated the conversation, been through it all and told me everything, he then does the old trick of mixing a few words together that sound deep and sound complicated, but really is just the most useless advice you'll ever hear.
Go. Return to me once you have mastered the jungle.
What does that mean? What am I supposed to do?
Listen to your instincts.
Taking Dennis's advice of mastering the jungle, I did air quotes by the way for anyone that can't see me. I mean, no one can see me because I've got my webcam on. I hope you can't see me anyway. If you can see me, get out my webcam, you little cheeky bugger you. And what better way to start mastering the jungle than playing tag with a monkey? But after chasing it for about 10 minutes, I then realised that it might have been running in complete fear of me rather than understanding and grasping the whole concept of tag, so I left it alone and ventured deeper into the jungle to try and understand the true meaning of being a warrior. I discovered that channeling the way of the warrior and using my primal instincts didn't help me at all from driving like I was Stevie Wonder. And after saying that he'd never shot a gun before, Jason was all of a sudden shooting like a Columbine student. And after asserting my dominance on the boar, I felt pretty ballsy, I felt pretty good about myself, so I decided to start a fight with this here animal. But it turns out my luck had taken a turn, and he was a distant relative of Zinedine Zidane. After that experience, I was feeling pretty fragile and I wasn't feeling like a true warrior. So I went to find comfort in Dennis, and he showed me what it means to really be a true warrior of the island. And that means that any chance you get, you never back down. You always rely on your instincts and you commit to your judgment.
2 pigs with 1 stone.
But
Taking outposts from the pirate.
no justice for any animal on the island. Seeing Dennis assert his dominance like that and getting what can only be described as one of the weirder hard-ons of my life, we then got word that one of my friends was held up in an outpost nearby, and as it was my friend, they gave me the option of leading the group and told me we could either go full no Russian on their asses, or we could go a bit more OJ Simpson. And of course I chose the OJ Simpson route and politely started stabbing a few people in the back. Searching through the outpost, I then discovered that they had a boar trapped up in a cage, and the animal rights activist in me couldn't bear to see it like that, so I started unloading on their chests like a teenage boy unloads on his bed sheets when his stepmom gives him a kiss goodnight. But alas, my efforts, much like the efforts of Brexit, were all a lot of fuss for absolutely nothing in the end, as Lisa, our friend, had disappeared from the outpost, and that honestly hurt me on another level and hit me quite deeply, as that's what happened to every other girl that I tried to sleep with. They all just end up disappearing. On the flip side of the coin though, we get some good news as Dennis tells us that one of our friends has been found and is staying currently with Dr. Earnhardt, who is on the other side of the island. And when you're a doctor on a remote desert island, you probably can't trust them, as they've probably done something wrong in their mainland country and they've gotten away from it by removing to this remote desert island. So I need to get there quick, as my friend could be in a lot of danger in many different ways. But that is something that we will get to in the next episode of Far Cry 3 if you do want to see more. Thank you everybody for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you do want to see more of this sort of content and you did enjoy this sort of content, then please let me know, I'll be happy to make more. I'd love making these sort of like a little bit more scripted post-commentary kind of things. It is a lot of fun, it's nice to do something different, so please leave your support, please let me know how you feel about it and what you like and what you don't like. Subscribe if you're new around here, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.